In this video, we're going to make the Arabian Blossom Whipped Body Melt. And in this video, I'm going to give you the full recipe for free, and I'm going to tell you how you can make your own version of this formula to craft your own whipped body melt. So let's get into it. Now, first, let me show you what we're making. A whipped body melt is an oil moisturizer, but it's not a body butter. A whipped body melt is made with a combination of oils that are proportioned just right so that you can get a whipped cream texture that firms up until it's ready to be used. So a whipped body melt and a body butter are two different things for a handmade lotion crafter. And why is that relevant? That's because if you want to make this on your own, you have to know what to select on the lotion calculator. And if you call this a body butter and you select body butter in step 1, you're going to create a formula that's different from what we're making here today. If you select whipped body melt, then you'll get exactly this. And that's why I differentiate between the two. It's only so that you know exactly how to get what you're looking for on the calculator that I built, so that if you want to make this or if you want to modify this yourself, you know where to look. Once you get to the right formula, then you can call it anything you want. If you want to call this an anhydrous body butter, label away. But this is a very specific formula that will get you a very specific product. So a whipped body butter is a cross between a solid lotion bar and a body oil, but it looks like something that you would eat at a birthday party. Now, we are going to create this full formula in front of you, so you don't need to go anywhere to get the recipe, but if you are a member at cottagediy.com and you want to go straight to the printable material and grab the formula and instructions, you can find this listed in the lotions and butters category, and it's labeled under the name Arabian Blossom. And I have a few more details for you guys who are members, including how I made the fragrance to match this body butter, so if you like things that smell like exotic gardens, we can talk about that over there. So for this formula, you're going to need 3.2 ounces of soybean oil, 2.56 ounces of Takuma seed butter, 6.4 ounces of shea butter, 3.84 ounces of kokum butter, 1/4 of an ounce of jojoba wax, 1/4 of an ounce of argan oil, and 1/4 of an ounce of vitamin E. The color that I'm using here that you'll be seeing me demonstrate is going to be Proud Peacock, which is teal in its packaging, but it comes out to be a light blue in our body butter. We're going to do this in two parts. First, place the shea butter in a kitchen mixer and add all of the liquid oils and set it on low. I'm using the whisk attachment, and I've already got this going before I remember that it's the flat bread beater that works better. So you'll see me switch over to that at some point. But when your shea butter is going to try to hide in this cage, just piece it back out. It's perfectly fine. The whole point of this is just to soften the shea butter without turning it into a liquid. So once you let this mix for a few minutes, you're going to find that'll turn into a nice soft paste. Now, with the hard oils, we want to put everything together and melt that all down. And today I am using the microwave. I know that you guys are used to seeing me put everything into a double boiler, but I want to get to the good part, so let's just melt this. While the mixer is on, go ahead and add the melted butters and just let everything mix together. You'll soon find that it turns into a creamy, thin liquid. Now, you're going to let this continue to mix until it starts to become rich and fluffy. Now, this can take anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes, and it's not about how long it takes. It's about folding air into the product when it becomes just the right texture. So these melted hard butters and oils need to cool after it's been blended in with the soft oils. And when it starts to look like a thick syrup, then you're going to start to get that whipped fluff. Now, you can leave the mixer on and you can just let it go, and when it gets there, it gets there. But the problem with that is that if it does take too long and you aren't paying attention, it will go through that whipped stage and it will start to turn into something else. Sometimes it goes back into a liquid, and sometimes it gets crumbly like butter. Now, you can still use all of your oils if this happens, but it will not be what you're trying to make. So you do have to keep an eye on it and watch it. Now, another way to get the right texture is to turn the mixer off and let those oils rest. And if they're left untouched, they're going to start to thicken. And when you get that thick syrup that gives you a little bit of a trace when you try to scoop it with a spoon, then you're ready. Whipping it only takes a few minutes. And if you see that it's working, but it's struggling with volume, then you can just play with the setting and turn it up or turn it down based on how it's behaving for you. It's going to whip regardless of what setting you have it on. And if you want to move it along and help it, you might have to turn it up a few notches. Now, once you do get it to the desired texture, you can add a little color if you want, but One recommendation is to stay under a teaspoon per pound of oils because the colorant that we're using for body butters is the same that we use for eyeshadow. And the goal is to make the product look pretty without it coloring your body. Nobody wants to turn their arms and legs and their face blue or pink or whatever color you've chosen while they're putting a moisturizer or a cream on their body. So just keep that in mind. Now, once you transfer this into your packaging, it'll scoop like a fluffy cloud, and it also pipes beautifully. Now, the beauty of this formula is that it's going to remain in the shape that you pipe it. After it's been whipped, when you're piping it, it's going to be soft like fluffy whipped cream. But over the next 24 hours, it's going to firm up like a solid cake icing, and it's going to stay exactly how you package it for the entire life of the product. It will never melt on you, even in moderately warm temperatures. And if you're living in a very, very hot place, then we do have things that we can do to modify that. But the final product that I'm making here has been sitting out for several days at a consistent room temperature of 85 degrees. So it's pretty hot here. And as you can see, nothing is melting. And this will store exactly in this way for you up to a year, exactly like this. Now, using this is just a little bit different than some of your other moisturizers because you only need just a pea size to get as much coverage as a teaspoon of body butter or lotion. In fact, we've made 16 ounces here using high-end luxury oils, but if we had made this into a regular body cream, it would be 5 times more product. So the oils are very dense and you only need just a little tiny amount. And also, this is a product that you can massage into your hair, but that's going to depend on which oils that you're using in your formula. Now, you can take this formula and start making this right now. As you can see, there are no chemicals being used here, so you don't need a ton of training. You can jump right into making this, and if you follow my directions, you are going to get this product. Now, if you modify your formula a little, or if you missed a couple of the details, you may need a little bit of help troubleshooting. And the most common hiccup that people have with this formula is that it won't whip up or it's taking too long to whip. Now, we're getting a little bit long for this video, but if you do need help troubleshooting, then I go into detail discussing how this formula works and how to look at it more carefully to get the oils to whip without it taking forever. And that can be found over in lesson 12.17 on the Soap Makers course, which has an entire chapter on lotions and bath cosmetics that is currently being built up. So if you need more help with this, you can find that right over there. Now we have our final whipped body melt. The entire process can be made in 15 minutes and then you leave it alone for 24 hours and you are ready to label it and give it to your friends or set it out on your market tables.